let's talk about something that is guaranteed to drive you absolutely nuts. Why do people, and yeah, that includes us sometimes, completely forget the exact words that came out of their own mouths? Well, we're going to dig into how our brains are actually wired to be professional history editors. You're not going to want to miss this.
Oh man, we have all been there. You're in the middle of an argument, maybe just a conversation, and you bring up something they said before. And they just stare at you with a blank look and say, I never said that. It is so frustrating, right? So confusing. Today, we are going to figure out what is really going on in there.
All right, so to really get to the bottom of this, we've got to start by tearing down a huge, and I mean huge, myth about how our memory even works. Most of us have this picture in our heads about memory, and, well, it's just plain wrong. Okay, so we love to think that our brain is like this perfect video recorder or a computer hard drive, right? That it's just storing every conversation word for word. But the truth is, it's so much weirder than that. Your brain doesn't really store a perfect transcript. Instead, it stores the gist of things. You know, the main idea, the emotions you felt, the final outcome. So here's the kicker. Every single time you remember something, you're not just hitting play on a file. You are actively rebuilding that memory from scratch. And that's exactly where the story can start to change. And that leads us right to our next big idea. If our memory is a reconstruction, well, that makes our brain the editor-in-chief. And let me tell you, it's an editor with a very specific goal, making sure the person you were looks a lot like the person you are today.
This all boils down to a really fascinating psychological idea called self-consistency bias. Basically, it's this powerful, mostly unconscious drive inside of us to keep our life story making sense. So if a past statement or something we did doesn't really fit with the story of who I am now, the brain can, well, it can just quietly hit the delete key on that memory.
You see this bias in action anytime someone says something like, I would never do that. And here's the thing, they genuinely believe it. It's not always about them lying to you in that moment. It's more like their brain has already lied to them. It's edited the past to line up with how they see themselves now. They literally can't remember doing it because in their mind, the person they are today just wouldn't. But it's not just about keeping our story straight. Sometimes forgetting is actually an active defense mechanism. Think of it like the mind's own personal bodyguard, protecting us from feelings that, frankly, suck. Just think about it for a second. Nobody wants to remember a time they were totally wrong or hypocritical or acted out of weakness. It makes us feel guilty or ashamed. So to shield us from that emotional pain, our brain can just kind of build a wall around that memory, making it really hard to find. It's an incredible form of emotional self-preservation. Now, of course, not every case of forgetting is some deep psychological defense. Sometimes it's a much more passive thing. It's just the simple, natural fog of time. As the years roll on, the details just get a little fuzzy. You know how it is. Over time, memories just naturally decay. Our brains are super efficient. If a statement wasn't a huge deal to the person when they said it, it was never really stored in long-term memory in the first place. So it felt like this major, significant moment to you might have been just background noise to them. This is how you get several similar conversations all blurring into one fuzzy memory. It's why someone might remember having a certain opinion, but have absolutely no memory of the specific moment they said it out loud to you. But sometimes, it's not innocent at all. And this is where we get to the big twist. We have to admit that sometimes that gut feeling you have in an argument, it's spot on. Sometimes forgetting isn't just a funny quirk of the human mind. No, sometimes it's used as a weapon. This is what we usually call selective memory or convenient forgetting. It's when someone forgets something on purpose to dodge responsibility for it, to escape the consequences of what they said, or honestly just to win an argument by denying what you're saying is even true. This kind of forgetting is active, it's strategic, and it's not so innocent. So how on earth can you tell the difference? Okay, here is the key takeaway for you today. You have to pay close attention to their reaction. Someone who is genuinely forgetting something will probably sound confused. You can almost hear them digging through their mental files trying to find it. But someone who is conveniently forgetting, they often sound defensive right away. See, their goal isn't to recall the memory. Their goal is to deny it and shut the whole conversation down. So, in the end, every time this happens, we're left with this question. Are we just dealing with a forgotten word, something that just got lost in the fog of time? Or are we actually watching someone actively rewrite their own story to create a version that's a little more comfortable to live with? The answer, I think, tells you as much about the strange nature of memory as it does about the person standing right in front of you.